Okay, I'm in my first period, but it doesn't matter which class you're in because they're all the same. So we're going to look at the junior paper folder today, which is a new folder I added. And in here so far, there will be much more to come. But right now I have an APA info folder, which we'll get to later when it's time for that. Right now we're not going to look at that, but just so you know, we will be writing this paper in APA format because that is something you will 100% definitely be needing to use in college. So if you take a class that is not an English or humanities class, you will need to use APA format. MLA, which is what we've typically used so far in school, is mostly just for writing about literature and humanities. So if you ever have a paper to write in any other class, you'll be using APA. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. And then what we're looking at today is this folder, Junior Paper Overview and Topics. So let's look at the overview first. What even is the junior paper? All right, now in other years, I usually make my students write longer papers. They do 6 pages, but this year we'll go with a nice 4 pages. You know, we don't have as much time. We're only in school 2 days a week, so I'm shortening it, okay? And that's double spaced, Times New Roman 12-point font. We are going to have a references page, which is the same thing as a works cited page, only in APA format. We call it references page. And that's where you list all of your sources that you used to research your topic and the quotes that you're using in your paper. You know, that's the list of the sources that those quotes came from. This is a research-based persuasive essay. Persuasive means you're trying to convince your reader to take your side, to agree with you. And you're going to do that by including research that you find on your chosen topic. When I say research, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute, it needs to be legit research from reliable, current, professional sources. And I'm going to go over on how to determine whether the sources are that or not. You do get to choose your own topic, so I highly suggest you choose something that you're actually interested in to make this slightly less painful. I've had students choose, oh my gosh, everything under the sun. Everything from some of the more mundane topics I have on my list that you have to choose from to just like the most crazy specific topics. Like I had one boy, I remember it was years ago, and he was really into cars. And I think he was actually a race car driver himself. And he wanted to do his essay on tires and which tires were the most safest for the driver and for the environment, and kind of those two things combined equating to be the best tire that all race cars should use. So it was actually a really interesting paper. I learned a lot about tires. I've had students who are really into horses, like they do horseback riding competitions, and so they wrote about horse therapy for kids with disabilities and stuff like that. There's just really literally anything you are interested in, we can probably make into a topic. But the only caveat is, the only catch is, it has to be researchable. You have to be able to find legit quality research on your topic. And there are some topics that are very hard to do that with. For example, Lil Wayne is the best rapper. I'm not arguing with that. Maybe he is, but like, can you actually find research that proves that? You know what I'm saying? So, like, just make sure you're choosing something that there actually is research out there for. You will write an official thesis statement. That will be an argumentative thesis statement that will take a stance on your topic. So, if you have to decide like yay or nay, yes or no, good or bad. You have to take a position on your topic. You can't just say professional athletes are both good and bad role models. Let me show you examples of both. No, you have to take a side. You either need to say they are good or they are bad, and here is all my research as to why. I already said we're going to use APA format, so I will teach you how to do that, of course. And we'll have lots of different due dates for all the different steps of the junior paper. I'm not just going to tell you, okay, y'all, go ahead and write your paper. See you later. We'll break it down into steps that go through the whole process. And we will end up using at least 5, can be more, reliable research sources. So most likely those are going to be websites, but not always. Students are always finding new and cool things like YouTube videos and whatnot as sources. And overall, what this assignment does is that it requires you to develop and demonstrate proficiency in conducting research and in writing about a chosen in-depth topic. The final product, your essay, shows that the student is able to gather quality research, analyze, apply, and synthesize knowledge into a cohesive, organized paper. And y'all, papers like this, you're going to be writing them all the time in college. So I think it's a really good skill for you to practice now and to go through all these steps, to get to this final product. All right, let's go to the next thing in our folder, which is topic ideas. You do not have to pick something off of this list. Let me repeat that. You do not have to pick something off of this list. These are just some things that students have done in the past or that are just like good, debatable, researchable topics. So you can read this through on your own. Any of these would be good to do. I did just add a couple this year relating to COVID-19 and how that's all going and stuff. There's a link there for even more topics, although I don't think they've updated that in a few years, so the current topics might not be so current. But really, I want to point you to 51. Your choice, as long as you can create an argument out of your topic. So you love sea turtles. Let's write about saving the sea turtles and protecting the beaches. Whatever it is that you are passionate about, that you are interested in, even semi-interested in, let's try to do that so that this can be an enjoyable experience for you and you can maybe even learn a little bit more about something. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that list. There's nothing you need to do with it. Let's look at this media bias chart. So this is updated every year. And for this year, there are some sources that I would try to stay away from because they are too biased one way or the other. So you can look at our chart. We have most extreme left, so that would be like super liberal. And then over here, most extreme right, super conservative. And then on this axis, we have original fact reporting. We want to stay in these 2 top squares, y'all, okay? We need to stay in those 2 top rows. Anything underneath that, I don't know. I wouldn't use it. I don't think it's as reliable for this paper. And I would try to stay in these middle 3 columns. So basically these 6 boxes right here. And you can Google this chart yourself if you need to make this a little bit bigger. Go ahead and just Google this and pull it up yourself. All right, so I went back and I clicked on the next thing in the folder, which is the CRAP test. And this is once we find our avenues for research, and those aren't the only, in those middle boxes there of the chart, those aren't the only sources that you can use. There's lots of others. We'll be actually looking at some databases from the library and other resource databases for you, but those are just some of the more common ones that, like, if you go to Google, those are the most common ones that pop up. So that's why they're on that chart. So the CRAP test, when we encounter a source that we think we might use in our paper, we need to put it through the CRAP test to make sure that it is current for the C, relevant for the R, which, gosh, I hope so, or like, why are we looking at it? Authority, who is making this source, right? Who is the one behind this information? Has it been peer reviewed, which means like other people have to look at it first before it gets posted on the internet for everyone to look at, and the purpose too. So look at all those different things. If it checks all the boxes, like, yeah, this looks pretty legit, then we can go ahead and pull some quotes from that source. That's fine. Just put it through the CRAP test first. And the last thing I want to look at with you today is thesis statement notes. This is totally review. You should already know this already, but because this is an argumentative paper and we haven't really done one of these yet, we've only done literary analysis papers, I want to briefly go over what your thesis statement is going to look like. And I can see my formatting is going to get messed up, but that's okay. So your thesis statement is going to state your argument, that what stance are you taking on your topic in your paper, which means you're going to have two parts to your thesis statement. You're going to say your topic, and then you're going to say your argument about it. And it can be short. It can just be one sentence, please. Yes, one sentence long. It must be arguable, so it must take a stance. It's pretty important because it pretty much summarizes your entire paper's argument. I want it to come at the last sentence of your introduction. That's where it should be. It's like typically where thesis statements go. And then we're going to restate it again in the conclusion. More on that later. It should not be vague. It should not be too general, and it should not be emotional. It should sound like a fact, even though you're totally stating an argument. So we will eventually have good support in our body paragraphs. We are not going to say, this essay is going to be about, or my thesis statement is, blah. Just write the sentence without those opening statements. And it needs to be provable through research. So this is what I really wanted to show you, is these model thesis statements. These are little good formulas or templates for you to plug in your own words. So blank should blank in order to blank, or in order to blank, blank should blank. And here's some examples you can read through. Like students should be required to take a music class in school in order to improve their academic performance. And then I would find all this research that shows how music class improves academic performance. Another one is blank should blank because blank. There should be metal detectors in all high schools because weapons and violence in schools are increasing every year. Okay. Oh, look at this one. Teachers should teach living poets. Oh, who wrote this? Because contemporary poetry is more relatable to students, discusses current issues, and increases student engagement. Oh my God, I would love to read that paper. Or maybe a book on it. All right, and finally, blank should blank. Like, look how simple that thesis is. School start time should be later. And then your whole essay is going to show me why, right? Use those templates. Notice that all three of them had the word should, and that's a really good word to help create an argument, like something should something. Preliminary research, we're getting to that next week, so I'm not going to talk about that yet. Just wanted to review very quickly what a thesis statement looks like for an argumentative paper, which is this kind of paper. So I want you to start thinking about topics, because next week I'm going to ask you to do that preliminary research, which will have you looking at 3 different topics of your choice or from the list that you are potentially interested in. And you'll go see if there's any good research out there for those topics. And then once you're finished with that, you will choose one of those 3 topics to write about. And if you already are fairly certain that you want to write about a topic, you're like, oh, I know it, I want to write about horses, then we can do horses as one of the options and have 2 backups just in case you want to change your mind and maybe there's not a lot of stuff out there for it, or just in case. Okay, folks, hope you enjoyed my video. Miss you. Okay, bye.